Hello. In this video, we're going to be looking at methods for multiplication, a wee bit of a recap of those, and then we're going to be moving on to how we use place value with multiplication to do some more complicated questions. Okay, so first of all, hopefully this bit should just be a little bit of a recap. We're going to look at methods we could be using to answer questions like these ones. So 47 times 6. I'm going to set it up in my chimneys like this. So 47 times 6. And we're going to do, first of all, 7 times 6. Now 7 times 6, I reckon, is 42. So I write the 2 down here, and the 4 I carry over to here. And then we're going to do 4 times 6, which is 24. But I've also got this 4 that I carried from before. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus that 4 I carried is 28. So I've got 282. My answer is that 47 times 6 is 282. Okay, I'd like you to have a look at this one over here on the right hand side, so pause the video just now. Okay, are we done? Let's see if your answer then agreed with my answer. So we should have set it up in our chimney, 47 times 3 this time. And I'm going to do, first of all, 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is going to be 21, so I write the 1 and I carry the 2. And then I have to do 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, but I've got this 2 to add on, so that's 14. 141. And did you spot that there was possibly a faster way of getting to our answer? So we used a chimney sum over here to work out that 47 times 6 is 282. 47 times 3, we've got half as many 47s, haven't we? So our answer is going to be half as big. So we've got this method that we could use. We could use our chimney sum, but for this question, since we already knew this question, we could have just halved our answer. 282, half of that is 141. We're going to look at a slightly trickier question now. So in these ones, we're going to be looking at multiplying by a 2-digit number. So I've got 37 times 13. I'm going to show you how we do that in our chimney sum. So I'm going to start with the 37 on top, and I'm going to write the 13 underneath. So the first thing we have to do is 7 times 3, just like we did before. So 7 times 3 is 21. I'm writing the 1. I'm going to carry the 2. Then we've got 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, but I've got my 2 that I carried to add on, so I'm going to get 11. So 111 is what I've got here so far. And next, so what I've done so far is, maybe let's use a highlighter to see what we've done so far. We've done everything multiplied by this 3, haven't we? I've done the 7 times the 3, and I've done the 3 times the 3. So now we're going to have to do all of that stuff multiplied by this 1. But what we've got to remember is that's not just a 1, that's a 10, isn't it? Because it's in the tens column. So to make sure that everything is 10 times bigger than it otherwise would be, I'm going to pop a 0. Oops, I'm using a highlighter still. Let's try that again. I'm going to pop a 0 just on the end here, so everything gets sort of shifted up one column. So when we're doing 1 times 7, it's actually going to be 10 times 7. So 1 times 7 is 7, but we write it as 70. And then 1 times 3 is 3, but we're actually writing it as 300. So we've got 370 here. We need to add that on to our 111. And the answer that we get is 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 1 plus 3 is 4. So we've got 481. I would like you guys then to have a look at this one over here, see if you can use the same method. So what we've got to remember is we pop the 0 on the end when you go on to doing that second multiplication. Okay, pause the video here and give that a go. Okay, what did we get? Let's see what we should have found. So 37 times 14 is our question. We're going to start by doing 7 times 4. Now 7 times 4 is 28, so I'm going to write my 8, I'm going to carry my 2, and then we're going to do 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, add on the 2 that we just carried, that's 14, 148. Going on to the next multiplication, stick a 0 on the end, because now we're not multiplying just by 1, we're actually multiplying by 10, because this is a 10, isn't it? So 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 3 is 3. So I've got 370 that I need to add on now. Let's do that addition then. Here we've got 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 7 is 11, I think. So I carry another 1. 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. I've got 518. And again, with this question, you might have spotted that there was a faster way of getting from this answer to this answer, because here I've got 13 37s, and over here I've got 14 37s. So I could have just added on another 37 to this number, and it would have given me this number, but we need to know how to do the chimney method as well. Right, what we're going to look at now then is using place value in multiplication. So place value is sort of like our columns, our units, tens, hundreds, thousands, that kind of thing. So let's have a look at just a few examples together before we before you guys have a go. So let's say I already know that 3 times 6 is, what's 3 times 6? It's 18, yeah, good. So 3 times 6 is 18, so I write the 1 in the tens column, the 8 in the units column. And if I know that, I know a whole bunch of other sort of related multiplication problem answers. I could tell you that 30 times 6 is going to be, well, I've got one extra 0 here, haven't I? So this is sort of 10 times bigger than this one. So if it's 10 times bigger, everything's going to move up one column, which means my answer is going to be 1, 8. We fill in this gap with a 0. So 30 times 6 must be 180. How about 3 times 60? What's that going to be? Well, again, this one is 10 times bigger than this one, because we've got this one extra 0 here. So we're going to end up with the same answer. It's 180 again, 180. Let's do a slightly trickier one then. If I wanted to know what is 30 times 600. Now, this is 10 times bigger than it was over here, and this is 100 times bigger than it was over here. So that means everything's been shifted up 1, 2, 3 times. So instead of the 1 being in this column, it's going to go 1, 2, 3. It's going to be in this column, which means the 8 is going to be in this column, and we're going to have a 0, 0, 0 to fill in those empty spaces, which means my answer is that 30 times 600 is 18,000. And it might be a good idea to pop in a comma there as well to separate out your thousands. Let's maybe do one more like this. So I'll get rid of these scribbles. There we go. And we'll say, what is 4 times 7? 4 times 7 is 28. So I write my 2 and I write my 8. And we can use that to work out, for instance, 40 times 70. So what's 40 times 70? Well, this is 10 times bigger. This is also 10 times bigger. So we've moved up twice, 2 columns in our place value columns. So this 2 ends up over here, this 8 ends up over here, and we fill in the gaps with zeros. So 2,800. Again, it's a good idea to pop in a comma to make it clear what that number is. Okay, let's get to examples that we can get written down then. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to work through all of this column on the left, first of all. So let's get that started. 5 times 3. Hopefully you can tell me that one. 5 times 3 is 15. Yeah, good. 50 times 3. Well, this is 10 times bigger. We've got one extra 0 on the end, so I'm going to have one extra 0 on the end of my answer. So it's not 15, it's 150. This one, this is 10 times bigger, this is 100 times bigger, which means my whole answer is going to be 1,000 times bigger. 15,000. And we can check it because I had 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in my question, which means I have 1, 2, 3 extra zeros on my answer. Right, what I'd like you to do now then is I'm going to start off this one in the middle. So I'm going to tell you that 4 times 6 equals 24. And then I want you to pause the video and see if you can complete this column of questions. So can you answer for me B and C? So pause the video and give that a go. Okay, how did we get on? We should have found for this one that the answer is, what did you get? 240, I hope. And, oh, that 0 looks a bit weird. Let's try that again. There we go, 240. And what did you get for C? I got 2,400. Did you put your comma in? Comma should have gone between the 2 and the 4. Okay, this one then on the right hand side, I want you to pause the video again and give all of those a go, please. Great, let's check answers over here then. So 7 times 3, what was that? 21. 7 times 30, 10 times bigger, so it should be 210. And 700 times 30, well, we've got 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in our question. So let's make sure we've got 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in our answer. It's going to be 21,000. And again, let's pop in commas to make that number easier to read. Lovely. So one more little set of examples before we get on to the practice questions then. Now here, we've got 900 times 26. Now that looks like it's going to be quite complicated to calculate, but how about we make it a little bit simpler by working out instead 9 times 26? Because I reckon we could do 9 times 26. So let's give that a go in our chimney. 26 times 9. It's normally a good idea to put the bigger number at the top. It just works out a little bit tidier that way. And then we do 6 times 9 is going to be 54. So the 4 goes down here, the 5 we carry across. And then we've got 2 times 9, which is 18, but I have to add on the 5. So 2 times 9 is 18, plus 5 is going to be 23. 23. So I've got here that my answer to this question is 234. So if the answer to 9 times 26 is 234, what's going to be the answer to this question, the one that we were actually asked? Well, this is 100 times bigger than this question, so we're going to have our answer being 100 times bigger as well. So if we're making it 100 times bigger, that's 234 with a couple of extra zeros on the end. So how do I say that number? It's 23,400. When we put our comma and we count in 1, 2, 3 from the end, that's where we put our comma. Okay, last one of these then. Pause the video, see if you can get an answer to this question over here, please. And we'll check that you agree with me in just a sec. Lovely. So what's the first thing we did? Hopefully the first thing we did was we popped this into a chimney sum. So we got 47 times 8. We can work that one out, can't we? 47 times 8. Let's give that a go then. 7 times 8 is 56, I believe. So 6 goes here. The 5 I'm going to carry across. And then we have to do 4 times 8. What's 4 times 8? I think it's 32. Add on the 5, that's 37. So the answer to this question, 47 times 8, is 376. But in our question, this is 10 times bigger than this is, and this is 100 times bigger than this is, which means our final answer here is going to have to be 1,000 times bigger than this. So it's not going to be 376. Our final answer is going to be 376,000. We've got 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in our question, so we're going to have 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in our answer. Okay, lovely stuff. I'll see you later.